The fact is that Renee Good was interfering with police activity. There's no question about that right now. There was no question at this point that she accelerated after she was given verbal commands to get out of her vehicle, and the body cam footage clearly shows, different angles from different people's phones clearly show that she accelerated straight towards the ICE agent. They had the right to defend themselves. Once she blocked the ICE agents from doing their job, they exited the vehicle, gave her verbal command. She wasn't listening, and then she purposely tries to accelerate and run over. I don't know if she purposely tried to run over the ICE agent, but there was an ICE agent positioned in front of her vehicle. She accelerated to them. At that point, that vehicle becomes a lethal weapon, and the agents had the right to defend themselves, and they did so.
I will be playing some of the comments that Democratic officials have made to Democrats later in the show, but it is also true that the Republicans, the president, the vice president, the DHS secretary, are actually in charge of the ICE agent. You yourself just now asserted.
Jake,
I'm just saying, like, that will come up later in the show, but I'm not asking you about it. The ICE agent, you just asserted that the woman clearly tried to run over the guy, and then you said, at the very least, she was going forward while he was in front. I think that does illustrate the fact that this is, at the very least, a widely disputed incident full of ambiguities and interpretations. How can anyone be confident that she was trying to attack the officer instead of she was trying to flee the scene?
Fleeing the scene, it doesn't make any difference. If you accidentally run over a police officer, you still are getting charged with involuntary manslaughter. If you are accelerating at a fast rate of speed, driving your vehicle down the road, and you cause the death of a civilian, you are charged with involuntary manslaughter because you're driving your vehicle in a reckless manner. In this particular case, she purposely blocked the ICE agents. Is that disputed? No. We know she purposely blocked the ICE agents. Is it disputed that she accelerated after the ICE agents gave her a verbal command to get out of the vehicle? No. Now, did she know the ICE agent was in front of her? We don't know, but we do know that she accelerated and she hit the ICE agent. At that point, that vehicle is a lethal weapon, and that police officer has the right to defend themselves. It is mind-blowing to me why we are defending someone that was acting in this manner when it was clearly that she hit an ICE agent, and that's law enforcement that's enforcing our nation laws. We don't get a choice on which laws we enforce and which laws we don't enforce. The police officers are doing their job, and she was interfering in their job. If you don't want to be in harm's way, don't get in the way of police officers from doing their job.
I'm not making the case that Renee Good's protest tactics were wise or safe. The question is, did her actions warrant being killed?
Was a vehicle being used in a lethal manner? Was she accelerating towards a police officer? The answers to those are yes. And in that case, the officer has to make a split decision to protect his life. And that's exactly what he did here. It is no different than you having a gun in your hand or having a knife in your hand. That is considered a lethal weapon, and the officer has to make a split decision to protect his life and those around them's lives. And that's what this ICE officer did.
You said that she clearly hit him. I don't know that that's true. It may be true. It may not be true. It does seem that he stepped to the side and was able to avoid getting hit in a horrible way, and he was seen walking fine afterwards. Again, I'm not defending what she did. I'm just saying she didn't.
Well, what's
she
the
didn't
difference
run
in a horrible way?
Well, she didn't.
What's the difference in a horrible way or not? It's like saying, well, I didn't really shoot you completely. I just shot you in the arm, but I shot at you. It doesn't matter. The vehicle was being used in a lethal manner, and he has a right to use lethal force at that time.
It may be.
I mean, I've heard reports saying that, well, why didn't you just shoot the tires out? Okay, give me a break. Like, that's going to stop a vehicle.
Yeah,
that's
I didn't say that.
The same thing that these people are saying. I know, but I'm just saying these reports out there. There is obviously, I mean, there's video, Jake. You can see the video. It's widely spread across the internet from different angles that you can clearly see him being struck by the vehicle in front of the vehicle. It doesn't make any difference if he was struck or not. When he was standing in front of the vehicle and she was given verbal commands to leave the vehicle and she accelerated, at that point he doesn't have 5 seconds, 10 seconds. He has a split decision on what he can do to protect his life and those around there's lives too. Remember, there's a crowd around there too. What if she accelerated out of control at that point too? But she did hit him, and he did use lethal force. And unfortunately, his life has changed. Her family's life has changed. This should have never taken place. But what we do know is the law enforcement had the right to be there to enforce the laws. She was interfering with law enforcement from doing their job, and that is a federal offense.
So it may be that she hit. I don't know. I'm waiting for the results of the investigation. But let's take a look more closely at some of the images of the shooting, as you just referenced. From the view I'm showing right now, this is the first video that we all saw. Officer Ross is obstructed when he appears to fire the first shot. You can't see because the other two ICE agents are there. But when he fires the second and third shots, he appears to be at the side of the vehicle, not in front of the vehicle, firing through her window to her left. Were the second and third shots warranted if by then he was shooting from the side and out of harm's way?
Well, that's very selective imaging that you guys are using there, because you can use a lot of different images than just that. You could also use the one where he's actually hit by the car.
I'm granting you your first. I'm granting the first shot. Yeah, I'm just saying, okay, what about the second and third?
I get that. But let's just talk about that real quick. Anybody that's been trained in law enforcement or even in military, you don't train just to shoot the one shot. You're always trained to shoot 2 or 3 shots. Typically, it's 3. It's called a triangle. 1, 2, 3 are running the buttons. 1, 2, 3 are a zipper. So everything you're trained in with muscle memory is a 3-shot go. And that is, and you can talk to any law enforcement agency you want to that's went through CLEAT certification or much higher levels of training with a weapon. So the 3-shot is a full-fledged muscle memory. However, she is still accelerating at this point when he was firing the first and second shot. It wasn't a clean stop. And so the threat was still taking place. It was still an active threat because the vehicle was still acting in a manner of a deadly weapon. And until that completely stops, he has to eliminate the threat. And unfortunately, like I said, this officer's life is turned upside down. Mrs. Good's life and her family, obviously, Mrs. Good's life is lost, but her family's life is turned upside down. It should have never taken place. But the real story is why were they even out there? They shouldn't have been out there interfering to begin with. And those that are paying for professional protesters to obstruct the justice of law enforcement, at some point they need to start being held accountable because they're costing people their lives. And
we don't know that she was being.
These individuals need to be held accountable.
We don't know that she was being paid.